Shopify Review, real store, real answers. Is Shopify the right choice for you to build your online store with? In this Shopify review, I'm going to help you figure that out. I have real answers from building a website using Shopify on a real working online store, and I've been using Shopify now for the last 6 months. Hi, I'm Tim from RealWebsiteHints.com, and this is my Shopify review. It's my mission to help you find the best and easiest ways of building high-quality websites. I purchase and test website building tools and create tutorials to help you find the best and easiest ways of making great websites. I support the reviews that I do and the free tutorials that I offer on my YouTube channel and on my website by using affiliate links. So if you like the products that I talk about in my videos, or if you want to learn more, use the links in the description below. So let's go ahead and dive in. I did a lot of research and testing before deciding on what online store platform I wanted to use. Our store already had an existing WordPress website, but we wanted to switch from just a catalog website that we had with WordPress to one where we could actually sell online. And I want to point out something here that I learned from my testing, and this is really important. The platform you choose to build your online store with is not just what you're going to be using to build a website with. It's actually going to become the main tool that you use to run your business. What I learned, which might be kind of obvious, is that building an online store is a lot more complicated than just building a standard informational website. There are so many things to consider. There's payments, customer interface, customer accounts, order processing, shipping, and even sending notifications to your customers about their orders. You aren't just building an information with website on it, you're actually building an entire business workflow. So let's take a look at how Shopify works as a website builder and as a business platform. Let's first talk about what I like about Shopify. Shopify is designed to help you sell online, and it does a lot of things to make sure you're successful. My favorite thing about Shopify overall is that it's easy to use. Almost all of the features and functionalities you need are built right in. This means less things to connect and try to sync together. In my experience, the more different systems that you try to connect together, the more problems you're going to have. Having more things that are just built in makes your life easier and sort of makes everything work better. Since Shopify is a store platform, the focus on the back end and on your dashboard is on sales-related tasks first. This makes Shopify really easy to use for what you and your staff will be doing most of the time, which is processing orders. The interface for processing orders is easy to understand and grasp. It didn't take long for our staff to get up and running and processing orders with ease. Website controls are located under the Online Store tab, where you can access all the things that you need to modify the front end of your website. Things like the theme, creating blog posts, pages, and even adjusting the navigation, like the menus on your website. So how do you learn things and get familiar with Shopify? What I found is that Shopify is extremely well documented. If you need to learn something about how to run your online store or how something on your online store works, there is a lot of information available. And most of it's actually right in the Shopify Help Center. I've also had good luck with just calling and talking to Shopify support staff. As a matter of fact, even the staff for the apps that are provided on the Shopify App Store have been extremely responsive and very helpful. So overall, the whole platform feels very well supported. What about adding functionality to your store with Shopify apps? How does that work and what is it like? So I'm currently using one paid theme and 2 apps to enhance the functionality of my store. Shopify has a healthy app marketplace with developers creating all sorts of plugins to help you sort of sort out these edge cases that aren't included with the main platform. With the apps that I've used, I've been really impressed with not only the functionality of the apps, but also the responsiveness of the app developers when I have a question or if there's some sort of problem that's going on. Down below, I'll link to the 2 apps that I'm using. The first one is called Boxify, which helps us to more accurately calculate the shipping costs. The other one is called Cloud Cart Connector. This helps us to sync our orders and inventory between Shopify and our accounting software, QuickBooks Online. So what about getting outside help with your online store? What do you need to do if you need to do something that's sort of above your knowledge level? How do you find the right people to help you make advanced modifications or customizations to your store? One of the unexpected things that I learned about Shopify by using it is that there is not only an app marketplace, but there is also an experts marketplace. In the experts marketplace, you can find everything from store setup to custom development and even online marketing. And Shopify makes finding an expert really easy. Right from the back end of your site, you can click on Hire a Shopify Expert. Choose Create a Job and then select the category in which you need help with. When I submitted a job, I had several responses within the first day. And for each response, you can see the ratings and reviews for that contractor based on the work that they've completed for other stores. Shopify also makes hiring them really easy. Simply just approve them for the job that you want, and then you can give them the access control level that they need right from the back end. No fumbling around creating like an additional user and then trying to figure out how to give them access to your site by sharing passwords. It's all done right from the back end. I've had 2 jobs done so far, and I've had really good success with both of them. Another feature that I like is the ability to sell not only online, but also in-store or even over the phone. If your store is like ours, you not only sell online, but you also have a physical location, and you might even take orders over the phone. With Shopify, you can create orders either using the web interface, or you can also take orders using the Shopify Point of Sales app. And I'm a big fan of keeping things simplified, and by keeping all of your sales in one system, instead of trying to use multiple systems, one for phone orders, one for in-store orders, and one for online orders, you can sort of keep them all together and not have to try to sync different systems. It also gives you the opportunity to provide a better customer experience by having all of their orders visible in one online account. I cover more about taking orders and order workflow and some of the things that I like about Shopify in my blog post. You can find a link to that in the description below. So now let's talk about some of the things that really aren't so great about Shopify. And the biggest downside for me is the difficulty of designing pages and blog posts. I come from a WordPress background where there are a lot of options to help you design great looking pages. With Shopify, your options are very limited. The default page and post editor is a lot like what the old WordPress editor used to be like. You've got some basic text controls, things like deciding on a heading or choosing styling for text. You can also add images. You've got some basic image controls for things like size, alignment, and you can decide if you want the text to wrap around an image. But that's pretty much it as far as page design goes. If you want to add columns or rows to your pages, you either need to code that in yourself or you need to get an app with a monthly subscription to help you design your pages. I really wish there was more built-in design tools in the Shopify page editor. I mean, just the ability to be able to add basic rows and columns would be a huge step. So the next problem that I had is with the shopping cart and the checkout. Now, don't get me wrong, the overall design and experience is actually really good. It flows really well and it helps your customers get through checkout quickly and easily. I actually really like it. I've actually used it many times myself as a customer ordering from different websites that I've stumbled across that use Shopify. However, you really have no control at all over the final checkout page. The design of it is fixed. You can't add any extra text or any extra fields for your customers to fill out. And that's something to keep in mind if you're trying to decide if Shopify is right for you. The next thing is changing a customer's order. When a customer places an order online, basically you cannot change it. The only option that you have is to cancel the order and then ask the customer to go ahead and place it again. Now I can understand the thinking behind this. You want to be sure that the customer is getting what they wanted and that you aren't changing the order after the fact or without their knowledge or charging them a different amount. However, when a customer calls you and just wants to make a simple change to their order, like say changing a color, it'd be nice to be able to help them with that instead of only being able to cancel their order and then just asking them to place a new order. Now I do think that there's some apps that offer a workaround for this, but I haven't tried them myself, so I can't say whether they're good or not. The next thing is with calculating shipping. If you have a lot of items in your store like we do, particularly smaller items that might ship together, Shopify on its own is not able to handle this. By default, Shopify will calculate the shipping based on the weight and dimensions of one item at a time. So it looks at it as if each item is just going to ship by itself. But if you want to put multiple items together, the default shipping calculator just isn't going to work for that. Fortunately, there are some apps to help. We've had really good luck by adding an app called Boxify. With Boxify, you can enter in the weight and dimensions of each individual items, as well as add in all the different kinds of shipping boxes that you have. And then Boxify will calculate which items can ship together, and this allows you to give customers a more accurate shipping estimation so that they're not getting overcharged and that you're not losing money on shipping. And with a few adjustments to Boxify, I've been able to get this calculation fairly accurate, so we aren't overcharging or undercharging for shipping. Sort of the last issue, which sort of is an issue and it might not be an issue depending on your level of skill, is that Shopify uses its own programming language called Liquid. So if you're already familiar with programming languages like PHP, you might be disappointed to find out that Shopify uses its own programming language. Now, I'm personally not a code expert, but with a tutorial and a code example, I can usually figure out how to make some minor modifications. I was worried that with their own coding language, Liquid, I might not be able to sort of fumble my way through the coding and be able to make these smaller modifications that I sometimes like to make. But what I actually discovered was that Liquid is very easy to understand. The first project that I took on was to set up a simple product tag that I can add to different products and be able to remove the Buy Now button and change that out with a call to place an order. And with a quick tutorial and some minor studying of how the code works, I was able to figure it out on my own. And for someone that's not a code expert, I actually found Liquid much easier to understand than something like PHP. But if you already know something like PHP, you might feel differently about trying to learn a new programming language. And the last thing here is there's some doubts about search engine optimization. And one of the big things that you'll see about Shopify as a negative is that the way that their URLs are structured might not be the best for search engine optimization. And this is something, when I first started with Shopify, I was actually really concerned about. And our old WordPress website had a lot of high-ranking pages, and a lot of our products were very high-ranking also. So I was really worried about making this move. But so far, in the last 6 months, we haven't seen any penalty from switching from WordPress to Shopify, and I was even actually able to take a page and do some focused SEO work on it and move that page from about page 5 to the first and second listing on Google. So I think if you focus on some of the basics of good quality SEO and the things that you can control with Shopify, Shopify will perform just fine for most people. If you are in a very competitive niche and you've done all of the basics, then the things like the URL structure may make a difference. But I really think that the URL structure is so far down on the list of what search engines are looking for, it'd be a very rare case where something like that would make a big difference. So those are some things to consider before you're deciding on Shopify. So what's my final advice? Well, I did decide to build my store on Shopify, and I don't regret it. There are definitely some inconveniences with Shopify, like building and designing more complex pages or blog posts, but Shopify works really well where it matters, and it helps you to provide a great customer experience. And it's easy for you and your staff to place and process orders. I actually also really appreciate all of the tips and suggestions that the platform offers you. The dashboard is full of timely information about how your customers are using your site, where your customers are coming from, and tips on how to improve your website. The Shopify dashboard is almost like having your own online store coach built right into the platform. So if you're looking to build an online store, I would definitely recommend taking a look at Shopify. The platform is very well developed, and I found it to be widely used across the internet, with many different independent stores using Shopify. As a matter of fact, since I've started using Shopify, I've actually been able to sort of pinpoint when I'm using a store that has Shopify as background. And from a customer's perspective, buying things from other people's Shopify stores, I can say that it provides a great user experience. So if you want to try Shopify for yourself, I'll include a link below to a free 2-week trial where you can give Shopify a try and see if it works for you. If you're still undecided and you want to know more about Shopify, check out my blog post where I go into a lot more detail about my thoughts on the platform and my experiences with using it. And if you have any questions about Shopify that I didn't cover, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And for more tips on how to build great websites easily, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.